Okay, so we have an empty, or pretty much empty artwork XML file here. All we have is the output, which exports a screenshot. Currently I have it set up with a width and a height, but if you want the raw image, you can simply remove these and it will show, as you can see here, the original image in 320 by 240 in this case, or whatever dimensions it was from the scraping source. So let's play around with this for a bit. If we add a layer, the layer needs a resource, and we can start by adding a screenshot, saying we would like that to be 590 by, what is that, 460 or so? Yeah, something like that. We'll save it again. And as you can see, suddenly the screenshot became a layer on the canvas instead. So what we did here was by adding a layer to the output channel, or sorry, the output layer, we converted this output into an empty canvas. So instead of having the screenshot in there, it's just a 640 by 80 empty transparent canvas. And then we told it to place the layer on top of that canvas with this width. So I could say 450 by 300 instead, and it will resize it like that. So let's add some more here. We can align it in the center, for instance, like so, and we can align it in the middle of the image as well, like this. So, okay, currently this is just an empty node. It's indicated by the escape slash at the end of this node, but if we do like this, we can nest new effects inside of this. So, for instance, we can add a rounded effect with a radius, I believe I've called it. And this has to be escaped with a slash as well, because it's self-contained. And let's look at that. A bit hard to see. Let's make it a bit more apparent. Okay, like that. You can see the edges are now rounded. So what it does is all of these effects that I apply now relate to the underlying layer. So if I also add a stroke effect, which is an outline effect, I can say like 10 pixels wide, we will get the outline. So the outline color is currently defined by an average of the screenshot. We can of course also define this ourselves. Let's just do some random color here, and it will turn the outline into that color. So let's do something else a bit cooler. So we can add more layers, as many as we want to. And I'm now asking it to apply a new layer using the cover resource. I'm going to tell it to have it a height of, let's say 200. And we're going to align it at the bottom, like so. I'll save it and see what happens. And bam, we have the cover photo in there as well. Okay, so let's make sure we can nest new layers into this one as well. So another cool thing is you can actually nest layers inside of layers. So if I do like this and tell it to use the wheel resource with a width of, let's say, 100, and I'm telling it to align center and vertically align middle. So if this was not nested inside the cover node, it would center it right here, but because I have nested it inside the cover node, it is anchored to the cover node. So if I save this now, we get the Sonic 2 wheel in here and centered in the middle of the cover. So let's just remove that again. Okay, so a cool thing is an effect called the game box. It is entirely automatic. I can just put game box in here and bam! The cover turned into a 3D game box. That's pretty cool. So let's tell it that we want the wheel to be on the side of it, and let's rotate it by 90 degrees. And we now have the Sonic 2 wheel artwork on the side of this. Let's also apply a shadow with a distance of, let's say, 5, softness 5, opacity of 70, and let's just move the cover itself up a bit so there's room for the shadow. Let's say 10 and see what happens. And we have a drop shadow on the cover as well. So I can keep adding new layers. I have a bunch of effects that you can use. Another cool thing I would like to demonstrate is, let's just remove these. Okay. You can add a mask which uses a file from the new resources folder, which is located, if you're in the home directory on the Pi, you can cd into the Skyscraper folder and then the resources folder, and all of the files in here will be usable by the sorry, let me just copy a file real quick that I have forgotten. This example here. And like so. Okay, so all of the files in here can be used inside of the artwork XML. So if I type in mask example PNG here and I save it, suddenly we get the screenshot masked out by the frame, sorry, the mask. So this mask is a round mask, as you can see. And another cool thing you can do now is I can add a frame as well, which I've created to match the resource here. And then we have a nice effect coming from that as well. So let's just, to finish this off, I would like to add a new layer. An important note is that everything is rendered from top to bottom. So if you want something on top of something else, be sure to move it below the thing you want behind it. Let's just add a wheel for good measure. Let's say 250. Line, right. Let's remove that. And then let's add a shadow of 5 or 10 maybe. Softness 5, opacity 70. And let's see how that looks. And this could be a screenshot. So this will be used by the front end if you're running Emulation Station. And let me just offset this a bit as well. Oh, yeah, that's better. Just move the wheel in a bit so there's room for the shadow. And the cool thing about this is that now we have the screenshot output node here, but we can also export all of the other types of artwork. So if you want the wheel artwork to be exported, you simply create an output node with the wheel inside of it. And if you want it raw without being resized, you can just remove this and it will be exported to the wheel or the media/wheel folder that is defined. You can do this for cover and of course also marquee. So these are the 4 different ones that you can export: the screenshot, the wheel, the cover, and the marquee. And that's basically the demonstration of the artwork XML format. Happy scraping!